Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. I'm the owner of Little Inklings Design, and today's video is really exciting because we're going to be talking all about the 2026 Always Fully Booked Planner. This is a video that I think many of you look forward to every single year. We have a lot to go over. I'm going to try and make this video as quick as possible, but these videos do tend to be a little bit longer, so grab a snack and a beverage and we're going to just jump into all of the information. So as you may be aware, every year we do a Always Fully Booked planner in our shop. It is a reading journal that is kind of mixed with an agenda. We do a dated version and we also do an undated version, and we're doing that again for 2026. I'm really excited to show you all the options. There's a couple of changes and new things, but first off, let's just show off these new covers because I'm really excited about these ones, and when I shared them on my social media a couple of weeks ago, you guys were so excited about them. So first up, as you may know, if you're familiar with our planners, we try to do kind of like a lighter, more colorful version, and then we also tend to do like kind of a darker version that are completely separate designs, just so that there's something for everyone, hopefully. And so we did that this year as well, although the darker version does have a little bit more color than we normally do. Go through the lighter, more bright version first, and this one is really fun because I actually teased this first and it was actually chosen by you guys. I did a poll on both my Instagram and on our Facebook group and let you guys choose. I presented two kind of light, more pastel options and I let you guys choose, and the vote was so close. It was like 50% like on either side. I ended up going with just whatever one had the most votes when I tallied them together, but it was super close. But this is the one that ended up winning. It looks like this. It has all of these different frames with like little bookish doodles in them. It comes with a coral colored elastic closure, and then it has rose gold foiled accents on it. And I don't know if you can tell because of the lighting, but the background is white with beige vertical stripes, and the back also has the vertical stripes on it. So that's what that one looks like. I think it's really fun. I just think it's so cute and cozy. The other color option that we have this year looks like this. So we went in a little bit more like fantasy kind of vibes for this one. So we have a dark blue tealish background. This one will have gold accents, and the background is this like repeating floral pattern with dark purple. So that's what that one looks like. So here you get a sense of the two options. Here are both of the cover options for 2026 planners. Now these are the dated versions of the planners, but the undated versions are actually going to be these covers as well. They won't have the date or the year on it, but other than that, these are the covers that will be available for either the dated or undated options. We did that because in previous years when we've had different covers for the undated version, some people were kind of upset that they couldn't get certain covers for whatever format they wanted. So this year we decided to just make it really simple and just have the two covers for dated and undated. So no matter what option you want, you can choose the cover. The other reason that we did that this year is just because this year is a little bit different for us planner wise, in that we are dealing with tariffs on our products for our US customers, and that has had a pretty significant impact on us as a small Canadian business. This year we are doing less planners than we have ever done before because we've just noticed that the tariffs have a pretty significant impact on our sales and our business. There will be less planners available. I don't know how the sale is going to go this year. I know I say that every year, but this year things have really changed and are really different. So I'm not sure how it will go or how long the planners will be in stock. I really have no indication because I don't know how the tariffs are going to impact our sales. I know a lot of you are really excited to get your planners, and I'm so thankful that you are still choosing to shop with us despite everything that is going on and any extra costs that are out of our control. So I just wanted to say thank you for continuing to show up for us because it really does matter. There was a time earlier this year I didn't know that I would even be doing a 2026 planner, which was completely heartbreaking, but I didn't know if that was going to be a possibility. So honestly, I'm just thankful to have a planner this year and going into next year. And that's all because of you guys' continued support, like 100%. So just know that when you show up for small business, it really matters. Let's talk about these planners because I know that's why you're here. I'm gonna have timestamps of everything listed below, so if there's something you want to reference later, or if you want to just like jump to something now, that'll be in the description, so you can do so. The one thing I wanted to mention before we get into like the flip through and everything is the date that these planners are going to be launched and how we're doing things a little bit differently this year. So piggybacking on our conversation about the tariffs, because of the tariffs and how they are subject to change at any given moment, we did not feel comfortable doing a pre-order this year because if we charge you guys a certain amount at pre-order time, and then 6 weeks later, when we're ready to ship them, the tariff rate is different, then that falls on us and we can't cover all of that extra. It just wasn't feasible to do it that way. So this year we will not be doing a pre-order. The planners are just going to launch. They are actually already on their way to us, which is really exciting. Planners, at the time I'm currently filming this, I do not have the launch day, but by the time this is uploaded, if I do have the date, I'm going to display it on the screen here so you know the launch date. We're just waiting to like figure some things out with the shipper because there was a lot of extra paperwork we had to do this year in order to get them to us. A lot of things had changed. There's a lot of new rules. And so the process is just a little bit different for us getting them, especially without the pre-order. So I don't want to give you guys a date and have it be wrong because the planners were delayed in getting to us. So that's why it's been a little bit like up in the air. If you've been following us on socials, we haven't been able to give you a date yet. And because we're not doing a pre-order, that means that when you order, we're going to start packing like as soon as we can. But I do want to preface that by saying like when we launch the planners, we typically have a lot of orders coming in a very short amount of time. So our processing time will be extended in order to get through all of those orders. So while we will be shipping right away and we won't have that like 6-week wait, it will take us some time to get through all of those orders. So you may not see a shipping notification for a week or two, but it definitely won't be that like 6-week wait. And we're hoping that we'll be able to get through the orders and get them out the door as quick as possible. But just due to the volume and the fact that there's only 2 of us packing these orders, and most of the time these orders are more than just a planner, there's other things included, that just takes us some time to get through them all. So please be patient with us while we work through that. As always, we'll keep you guys updated through the process and show all the behind the scenes while we're doing it so you know where we're at and how things are going. The last thing I wanted to mention before we get through the flip through is just the price this year. You'll see when we get through the flip through that we added the folder page back into the planner. Last year we removed it to try and save some costs for you guys because prices have been increasing from our supplier the last year or two, and unfortunately that's just like completely out of our control. This year was no different. Prices have continued to go up and up and up. So last year when we removed the folder page, because we had quite a few people tell us that they weren't using it and we were trying to like save some costs on the planner because it kept going up and up, we got a lot of feedback that you guys didn't like that and you wanted the folder page. So we did put it back in this year, but that does mean the price did go up. Also, with that being said, the price of the supplies just went up again. So the price of the planners themselves will be higher this year than they were last year. So just keep that in mind. Still working on finalizing the price, but at this point I can tell you it will be somewhere in the range of 60-ish Canadian dollars. Just wanted to get ahead of that so you know upfront that the prices increase and why. Last thing I wanted to say before we get through is how many pages the planner is this year. So it is 404 pages for the dated version. We're going to get to the undated version at the end of this video because I made a little bit more changes, so it's actually longer than the dated version, but we're going to get into why when we get to that flip through. But the dated version is 404 pages, which is 4 pages more than last year. We have a couple new things to show you, which I'm really excited about. And I think that's all of the details. So let's just jump into the flip through so you can finally see everything that's in here. Okay, so here we are with both of the planners. Hopefully this will give you a better look at both of the covers side by side. So we have the color cover and the sword cover over here. These are the 2 dated versions. As you can tell, they both have the year. We're going to start going through the dated versions first, and then I'll do the undated version at the end so you can see. And we're going to take a look through the color version. I should mention before we get to the flip through that if you are familiar with our planners, you probably already know, but both of the interiors of the planners are the same other than the weekly spread. So both planners will come available with a horizontal weekly spread or a vertical weekly spread. If you have the dated version, I'm going to show you both when we get to that part, but just know that all of the internal pages are going to be the same. The only difference will be the covers. So let's take a look through this planner here. So the first thing you'll notice when we open it is we have new end pages. The end pages on the color cover are this bookish pattern. I have an open book with some flowers in a pink and orange and green color scheme. And I do want to mention that this sticker sheet did have some printing errors for the sample, so just ignore that black. That won't be there on the final files, which kind of leads me into just saying that these are samples and the colors that you may see in the sample might be different in the final version. It's not like a true representation because they print them differently. So we have our title page, and we have our yearly overview and our dates to remember pages. Leads into our important info and goals. We have the reading checklist. You get 3 full 2-page spreads of those. And then we have the half sheet beside the mini bookshelf. And like last year, we increased the size of the Always Fully Booked to be able to track up to 150 books, and we kept that for 2026. So you'll have this bookshelf and then a second full bookshelf to get to the 150 books if you read that many. If you don't read that many, you can use the mini bookshelf for something else, or you can cover it or just color it as a coloring sheet. That's up to you. Have the book series tracker. You have 3 quotes pages. Leads into the pre-orders page and the author backlist page. This was a new page last year, and a lot of you seemed to really like it, so we brought it back. Have the books to reread, which was also a new addition last year, and the playlist page, which many of you seemed to really enjoy, so we definitely wanted to bring that back. That leads into the movie tracker and the TV tracker. And then we have this blank tracker that can be used however you want to use it. It can be book club picks, your favorite book of each month, your top books of the year, selections from book boxes. It's totally up to your creativity. We've got the 5-star reads page, and that leads into 2 new pages to the 2026 planner. First is the did not finished and paused tracker. A lot of you have been asking me for a DNF tracker for a long time. So I came up with this idea of combining it with pausing books. Like if you're like me, I very rarely will DNF a book, but sometimes I'll pick up a book and it's not the right time for me, and so I will just put it aside, but I know I'll get back to it, and I don't want to say I DNF'd it because that kind of has a negative connotation these days, and that's not always the case. Sometimes I just am pausing and I will come back to it. So I wanted to make that an option. So you'll have a DNF, and then there's a pause, but then there's also a checkbox if you do end up coming back to finish it, so you can keep track. And hopefully this will help you guys keep track of the books you didn't finish, but also the books that you just put aside and have a list of ones to come back to later. And then our other new addition is the Bookish Superlatives Challenge. This was a recommendation from someone in our Facebook group, and they suggested doing Bookish Superlatives in the planner as kind of like a reading challenge. And I thought it was such a fun idea. So what we did was we took kind of like typical yearbook superlatives. Not all of them are typical, but most of them, like class clown or cutest couple, like made them bookish. So in the brackets, class clown is a book that made you laugh, or cutest couple would be best romance. Most likely to be famous would be one that's adapted to screen, and we just thought it would be really fun. You can fill this in as the year goes on, or you could do it all at once at the end of the year, but I just thought it would be like more of a fun reading challenge. That leads into our A to Z reading challenge, and we did keep the number prompt that we added last year. That goes into the 2026 Fully Booked Reading Challenge. This is a reading challenge unique to the Always Fully Booked planners, in our planners, just in general, as it's our prompts that we come up with every year. One thing you may notice is that we did change the size of the boxes this year. We noticed that a lot of people like to use mini printers to print out book covers to use with our reading challenges, but on our previous sizes, the boxes were not quite the right size if you were using the 4 collage, which many of you were using. So in order to simplify that, we changed the size of the boxes. So now this is the size of those pictures if you use the 4 collage with a mini printer. But basically we changed the size. If you don't use a mini printer, it won't affect you other than the fact that you now have a little bit more room. But we have all new prompts this year, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do with these. I think we have some really fun ones. That goes into the On the Cover reading challenge. Again, brand new prompts this year, and it does have the bigger boxes along with the reading rainbow. We have the genre reading challenge and the read through the ages challenge. Those haven't changed, but the around the world reading challenge has changed a little bit. Two notable differences. We changed, this prompt used to be just Europe. It is now Western Europe. And this used to be just Russia and is now Eastern Europe and Russia. That's just to add a little bit more variety and broadness to the categories, so you're not quite so limited, and just kind of splits it up to open up some more opportunities. And then we also added a not on land prompt, which we thought would be really fun, whether that's a book that takes place in the air or in the sea or in space, kind of however you deem that appropriate. We just thought it'd be a fun one to add to the around the world. That leads into the 26 books in 2026 challenge. This challenge is exclusive to the dated planners. You will not find it in the undated planner because it's year specific, and it's just to select 26 books that you either already own, or 26 books that you've been meaning to read, or 26 books that have been recommended to you, books that you want to read in 2026. And I really love this challenge. I think it's really fun, and it's always nice to see kind of how far you get throughout the year. That leads into 2 additional new pages. We have the blank bingo card. I offered this as a printable last year, and we actually used it in our Facebook group, and we asked everyone to submit prompts, and then you could choose random prompts and make your own bingo card for the year. And it's been really fun to keep track of throughout the year. I've also seen people use this to track their own bingo card, whether they want to create a genre specific challenge like around mysteries or fantasy or romance. I've seen people do like all different tropes. It's just like really fun to make your own bingo card. So I added the blank one in. And then similarly, I did a blank Tetris card printable last year, and so many of you seemed to really enjoy it. I myself have had so much fun with mine in 2025, so I thought it'd be fun to just add it right in. I use mine to track genres, but you could use like whatever prompts you want. It could be like habits or like whatever you can come up with, really. And it's just like a fun, each different block means something different, and then you fill it in as you go, and it's just kind of a fun little addition. That leads into the reading goal tracker, again up to 150 books. And then we have the battle of the books and this blank chart tracker. Similarly to the Tetris, you can use this for whatever you can think of. I've seen people track pages read, I've seen people track habits, I've seen people track when they finish a book or when they're reading, formats they're reading. It's totally open-ended. That leads into the monthly reading stats and the genre tally. Then we have the blank pie charts and the bar graph. These are things that you'll fill in at the end of the year once you have your stats for the year. And then that leads into some blank dot grid pages, so you can add your own challenges or your own pages or charts or graphs or whatever you want to add. And then that will lead into the months. So every month will have its own individual artwork with a month title page and a color coordinated tab. So this is the artwork for January. It matches the cover of the color cover. And then you'll have a full 2-page spread calendar and the books to read and new releases. This does have the lines that we added last year. You can't really see them in the sample, but they are there in the real printed version that you will receive. A lot of you really liked the addition of the lines to that page, so we did keep them. And then that leads into the weekly spreads. So this is an example of the horizontal weekly spread. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you have two options for the dated version. You have the horizontal, which you can see here. The days are displayed in a horizontal fashion, and the other option is a vertical. This is an example of the vertical spread. As you can see, the weeks are displayed in a vertical fashion and split into 3 different sections. So those are your two options for the dated planners. You can choose vertical or you can choose horizontal. It's totally personal preference. That leads into the bookish haul and the reading wrap up for each month. And you also get an additional blank dot grid and blank note pages for however you want to use those. I'm not going to show you all of the artwork until the very end in case you don't want to be spoiled for all of the artwork, but I will just mention that we do also have quarterly check-ins every 3 months. We have the last quarterly check-in, which leads into the 2026 reading wrap-ups. This is wrap-up for the whole year. That leads into 2 different coloring pages, which leads into our reviews with your own little reviews tab. And these boxes are also that bigger size. And we moved this posted box to the end just to allow you to have that size change for the box. So there's enough reviews in here for tracking 150 books, like I mentioned. So there's lots of reviews. And that leads into more dot grid pages. You can add in your own trackers or challenges or however you want to use them. And that leads into blank note pages. There's a bunch of those at the back as well. And that leads to a new addition at the very end of the planner, which is an important dimensions page. And I added this because I always get asked what the size dimensions are of all of the things in the planner. So if you wanted to print something out, and I just thought it'd be really nice to have a reference in the planner itself with all of those sizes, so you just have it right there. So it's got all of the 3 main examples at the top here. These are like the 3 most common. And then I just added some other dimensions just in case anyone wanted those dimensions as well. And I did leave room in case you wanted to add your own, or if you wanted to like have a key for your planner, like color coordinate anything, you have some room. This can just be like a reference page in your planner. And then that leads to the end. And like I mentioned, we did bring the folder back in to the planner. So that's a look through the dated version. So let's go back and I will show you all of the artwork. If you don't want to see the artwork, I would skip ahead now. I'll leave a timestamp down below for when this is finished. But if you do want to see all of the artwork, I'm going to show it now. You will notice that some of it is familiar as I have repurposed some designs that we offer in bookmarks or Kindle cases because I thought people just like love having like a little matchy moment, and I just thought it'd be fun to include them. And then we also have some brand new designs as well. This is one of the new ones. And then for February, and we have the March. This is a new design, but it's actually the design that was in competition for the color cover this year. And I just loved it so much I wanted to make sure it was still included in the planner so that those of you who voted for it could still enjoy it. Then we have the April and the May. We have June and July, August, September, October, November, and December. So those are all of the artworks for the dated planner. So now I'm going to show you the undated planner and we'll do a flip through there and I'll show you all of those changes. Okay, so here we are all set up with the undated version. As you can see, it doesn't have the year here. So this is what the undated cover will look like. Again, the undated planners will be available in both cover options. So here are the end pages for this cover. Again, ignore the sticker sheet. It did have some printing errors that will not be on the final copy. So we have our title page And instead of a yearly overview, because this is undated, we expanded the dates to remember, so you get extra room. And we have the important info and goals. That leads into the reading checklist. Again, you have the 3 full pages with the half that leads into the bookshelf pages. We have the book series tracker. We've got 3 quotes pages. That leads into the pre-orders, the author backlist, the books to reread. The My Playlist page doesn't have the months on it or the year. Movie tracker, TV tracker, has this blank page again, but this one doesn't have the year on it. Has the 5-star reads, and it does have the 2 new pages that I showed in the dated version, the do not finish and pause page and the bookish superlatives reading challenge, which leads into our reading challenge section. So we have the A to Z challenge, the fully booked reading challenge. This one doesn't have the year on it. It does have all of the new prompts from the dated challenge in the 2026 planner. The only difference is it has the award-winning book from a previous year instead of naming a specific year, and that's just so you can use this planner for any year. Otherwise, all of the prompts are the same, and it does have that bigger size box again. Have the on the cover and reading rainbow challenge, and genre and read through the ages and the around the world with the new prompts that I mentioned in the dated version, which lead into the blank bingo and blank Tetris pages. These are also new additions to the undated planner this year. Have the reading goal tracker, battle of the books, and this blank chart here. You'll notice on the undated version it doesn't have anything blocked off like in the dated version, and that's just so you can use it any year, but also you can start it any month. So it's not specific to starting with January, that if you decide to start this planner in June and go like June to June of a year, then you don't have to start like in the middle and then go back. You can choose to start it whenever you want. And we also have the monthly reading stats, and similarly, it doesn't have the months listed. That way, if you choose to start at any other month than January, you don't have to like start in the middle. And same with the genre tally, the months have been removed here, so you can add them in yourself. And then we have the pie charts and bar graph. The bar graph will not have a title. You can add that in yourself because it's not year specific. And then we just go into the blank dot grid pages. And this is where we'll notice the biggest change for the undated. One bit of feedback that I continually got with the undated was in previous versions, we would have the artwork on one side and a condensed blank calendar on the other. And that was just because we wanted to still include the artwork, but with the dated version, it's usually the artwork and then the title of the month, but we didn't want to have a title of the month on the page because obviously it's meant to be undated and we want people to be able to start it any time of the year, not just in January. So, but many of you didn't like the condensed calendar. You said it was too small to use. You didn't like the small boxes. You wanted it to still be a 2-page spread. So I played around with a bunch of different options and this is what we came up with. And I actually think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we have the artwork still on one page, and then the other page is just the background of the artwork. And we did this for a couple of reasons. The first being it still looks somewhat cohesive, you know you're in a new month. The other option is we thought it would be really fun if this could be left up to your creativity. You could add the month in yourself if you wanted to, but also this could be like if you were kind of getting into junk journaling, it could be like a catch-all for that month, like ticket stubs and photos, kind of like a little mini scrapbook page for that month that you can use. So that's what we did, and we did that so that you can still have the full 2-page calendar in this, which I think is going to be a lot of fun for people, but obviously it's blank so you can date it yourself. And then that leads into the books to read and new releases. And then the undated version, rather than having a horizontal and vertical weekly spread, we have a dashboard layout. And the dashboard layout is only available in the undated. And this is what it looks like. So it has the days of the week on the side, and then it has kind of like a weekly overview with some blank sections that you can use however you see fit. And each month has 5 of these spreads. So this is why the undated version is slightly longer, is because you actually, instead of having 52 weeks in the planner, you actually get 60 weeks in the planner, just because we didn't want to pick and choose which months have 4 weeks and which months have 5 weeks, because it's different every calendar year. So rather than doing all that and it being confusing, we just gave every month 5 weeks. So like I mentioned, there's 5 of those in the planner, and then that leads to the bookish haul and reading wrap up. And we've got the dot grid page and the notes page, and then that will lead into a new month. And similarly, it has a quarterly check-in every 3 months. And then at the end, your very last quarterly check-in, which leads to a reading wrap up for the whole year. It's not year specific. And that leads into the coloring pages, which leads into all of your reviews. Again, there's 150 reviews, so lots of room to record your books. And that leads into extra dot grid pages at the back. There's quite a few of those. And then extra note pages, like I mentioned. And then similarly to the dated version, we have the important dimensions page, which has all of the dimensions that you may be inquiring about in the book. It's kind of just a reference page for you, because we always get asked what size certain things are. So we thought it'd be kind of neat to just add it right in with some extra space in case you wanted to add in your own, or have like a color code for your planner, whatever you kind of want to do. There's like extra space. And then, like I mentioned, it does have the pocket at the back. So that is the undated version. I'm just going to go through all of the artworks of the undated. So if you don't want to see this, if you want it to be a surprise, you can skip to the end. But here is the first month. We kind of were intentional in the way that we did these spreads, in that you could leave it blank and it looks totally fine, but also you could add things and it would be kind of fun and different. So we wanted it to be able to be used in a variety of different ways to fit a variety of different users. So hopefully you guys like that change, but that is all of them, and that is a look at the undated. Those are going to be your options for the 2026 planners, both dated and undated. And I really appreciate you guys watching this whole video and continuing to shop with us. Just know it really makes a difference for us, and we appreciate you guys still showing up. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments what you're most excited about for the 2026 planners, which cover you're thinking of getting. Just tell me what you're most excited about. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.